Hi, everyone. Welcome in to tonight's edition of Wave News Extra. I always like to point out when it's the first of things, just as we're still quite early here in 2026, our first Monday live stream. So always appreciate you joining us as we begin with our customary look around our backyard across the metro and enjoying this lovely calm, quiet shot from our Bardstown SkyTrack camera and enjoying still some pretty festive lights and not as frigid temperatures. Still nice in the 50s. If you were going out for a walk, maybe taking the doggos for their nightly break or walk. Appreciate you joining us, by the way. I'm Jose Sosaya. Always good to connect with you folks as you're joining us, whether that's through our multiple social media channels, where obviously it's a great way for you all to connect with us, to stay connected, reach out that way on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or X. The same applies for the many ways you can connect at home with the Wave Now app on your smart TVs, and that's just something where you could always check in on the information and the live newscasts and stories we're able to update there. And as we begin this first work week of 2026, we're going to begin with perhaps the most compelling of the videos we did want to share with you in case you didn't get a chance to break this all down a little earlier in the day while you were heading out from work or getting busy, maybe thinking of planning ahead if the kids are already back in school or having to think that they're going to be back at school to start their spring semesters, winter and spring semesters soon. But we're going to begin with, in essence, a couple, like I said, the most compelling videos, and it has to do with LMPD releasing, as it will do whenever there's an officer involved in a shooting. But these are going to be two different cases. We're going to begin with the first one of these interactions and cases, investigations that do involve shots being fired. We're going to, like I said, this body cam video, one of two, showed today some of the moments leading up to this shooting. So here's where we're going to begin.
Put your hands up. Put your other hand up. Put your other hand up.
And so what you're watching here is this case we'd followed from what happened on West Chestnut Street. They got initially a notification, LMPD did, about 10 shots that were fired. Officers apparently got there within minutes. They found a man who was running away. After a short chase, officers say they found the man hiding in a backyard. It was 30-year-old Asa McNeely, who has been since charged in the shooting. Police say he tried to reach for a gun in his waist before he was shot. Now, McNeely, we're told, is still receiving pretty necessary critical care in the hospital tonight. But in the video, there's a second officer who didn't fire his weapon, and he could be heard calling out to McNeely by his first name. Now, what we're going to show, and I failed to pull this up and have it officially ready for you, so I'm just going to pull up another graphic that goes with our breakdown of this story. But again, pretty compelling stuff, as you could see that camera being activated there. Now, the officer who fired their gun in this case, Officer John Heisler with LMPD's 1st Division, starting with LMPD in 2019, then rehired in 2021. So that is the background for this first case of the camera. Now we're about to show you the next instance of a pretty startling moment in what police described was already quite a convoluted and really dangerous investigation. But this is going to take us to the one that had a suspect interact with police on Bardstown Road.
Stop! Put the gun down! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on your stomach! Get on your stomach!
They shot at me. Please help me. Please.
Put your hands behind your back.
I got kids. Please help me.
Put your hands behind your back.
Again, pretty startling stuff here. This is some more body camera footage that LMPD released today, and you heard at the beginning. So car horns going off, the gunfire starting, a man shot, begging the officers, as you heard him, to then take him to the hospital. Now, all of this was happening as LMPD was doing a traffic stop that had nothing to do with these two cars coming up. So they were there on Bardstown Road near the Gardner Lane Shopping Center, December 19th. LMPD saying that Winthrop Taylor fired off shots at a victim at a gas station parking lot, then started chasing this man, the victim, after then he tried to get away. But the two exchanging gunfire going down city streets as the victim in question, the other man, was trying to find any kind of help. He thought perhaps he saw it, but officers fired rounds of their own at him. And all of this, the victim was shot in both of his arms. Right now, what is not clear, though, is if the officers' bullets or the ones that Winthrop Taylor is accused of firing ultimately did hit the victim in question.
Officer Fisher starts shooting. Who is he shooting at? He is shooting at the person that you see in the body-worn camera video that's on the ground ultimately. I mean, that person got out of the vehicle and started shooting in a direction towards residential areas. The officers had no clue what was occurring or what had occurred. And once they were able to put that together, they were able to piece the storyline together. But the officers had no idea what had happened. But yes, they were shooting in the direction of that individual who was firing in towards a residential area.
And that was Deputy Chief Emily McKinley with LMPD. So police tell us even though the victim fired in an area where there are homes, residences, right now he is not facing any criminal charges. LMPD says they are withholding his name, though, because he is a victim related to the case, a victim in this case, allegedly of Winthrop Taylor's actions, who, by the way, is still facing several charges, including attempted murder of a first responder, meaning the police involved in this unrelated traffic stop and then involved in the case, and then also when it comes to assault. Now, moving on to other stories of a man who had been charged with killing a father and his 3-year-old daughter. He's asking for more time from a judge to find a lawyer who could represent him. Kevon Lawless, convicted back in the August 2020 killing of Brandon Waddles and Waddles' little girl, Trinity Randolph. But the state Supreme Court threw out that conviction a couple months ago in October. The justices ruled the first trial judge should have declared a mistrial because a juror reported they learned one of the witnesses against Lawless had been arrested for perjury. Lawless is still in jail, waiting to be retried on $1 million bond. And he's told the judge twice that he was still looking for a new lawyer when he asked for more time again today. Monday, the judge refused and instead ordered him and appointed him a public defender. Lawless is due back in court in early February. In another case, LMPD makes an arrest in a shooting on Christmas Day at an East Louisville apartment complex. Now, this happened late at night on Heathmore Court. LMPD say they found a victim shot several times, taken to the hospital, but should survive. Now, over the weekend, officers say they arrested 20-year-old Angel Guerrero, charging him with assault. Court records say Guerrero and the victim are roommates. Guerrero's bond was set at $10,000. He was ordered not to have any guns or contact with said roommate. He is due back in court next week around January 13th. Now moving on to another case. This one is of interest, especially for folks in Hardin County. But when we found out about this, also really compelling details of a man accused of walking into a nursing home, stabbing his mother to death. Well, he appeared before a judge through video arraignment just this afternoon. The case itself, the incident happened just after 2 Friday afternoon at Signature Healthcare at North Hardin and Radcliffe. Police accusing 33-year-old Joseph Curtis of stabbing his mom multiple times until she died, and he has been charged with murder, domestic violence.
The services of the public defender to assist you.
I'd like to request a public defender.
And so there was Curtis requesting a public defender after a series of questions the judge made. The request was put in to appoint him that public defender. Curtis was also given a $500,000 full cash bond, ordered to have no weapons, alcohol or drugs. He's set to be back in court next Monday for a preliminary hearing where the judge says they're going to hear witness testimony in this case. Now, in an unrelated, sort of story, just obviously we discussed sort of like the big, heavy, very crime-focused stories we wanted to break down with you at this time of the newscast. This one more so to do with an investigation that Metro ABC, so alcohol and beverage control, with LMPD's help, but they're still both actively investigating what happened inside a private lounge in Louisville. 4 people were shot there, though, over the weekend. The victims' ages ranging between 17 and 21. And investigators also say one person was pretty badly hurt, still needing critical care. So with this update is Wave News reporter Kirsten Foote on how leaders in the area, particularly one Metro Council leader whose district involves this property, say that something needs to happen.
Metro Councilwoman Josie Raymond, who lives right near this business, tells me that neighbors had concerns when they learned a private lounge was coming to their area. She says this shooting has only added to that concern.
Details into the shooting are still unclear, like what led up to the shooting or how many suspects there could be. No one has been charged with the shooting, but the bar's owner, James Connor, was arrested. LMPD says he violated the terms of a domestic violence order, which prevents him from having a firearm. He was not charged in the shooting. Alcoholic Beverage Control has issued an emergency suspension for the lounge's liquor license, but Councilwoman Josie Raymond says that needs to be permanent.
It's worth Metro Council looking at the zoning rules and the ordinances surrounding private clubs to make sure that these can operate safely in our communities and that they can have the sort of oversight that we expect of every other bar and restaurant. And I'll say when it comes to Lenny's Lounge on Klondike Lane, shut it down. I'm calling on ABC to not renew their license so that they can never reopen.
The investigation is ongoing, and we'll keep you updated as we learn more details. Reporting in the Klondike neighborhood, Kirsten Foote, Wave News.
All right, folks, stay with us as we've got much more to break down on tonight's Wave News Extra, including part of our conversation our night reporting team had with the co-owners of the Cluckers on the Indiana side of the Riverfront in Jeffersonville that unfortunately burned down so early into the new year. Just getting a chance to sit down and talk to them about the phone call, the drive over to witness the fire, basically destroy their building, what the next short-term plans are. So we're going to play a little bit of that for you as we do come back from break, and much more to break down beyond that. So hope you stay with us after this commercial break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back with more Wave News Extra and appreciate you joining us. You've likely seen different vantage points and angles that, of course, our camera crews and probably many online have been showing of these charred remains. It's all that's left of the Cluckers on Riverside Drive in Jeffersonville. The fire, it happened nearly a week ago. Now, no one was reportedly hurt, but you could see just the extent of this damage, just leaving it at a complete loss. We went back to the location today. There was caution tape. The rubble were pretty much all that were left. If you're familiar with how at least the brand has grown, this was the second of 5 Cluckers locations built, and this is something that you've been finding, across Louisville and southern Indiana. So we're going to show you just a little bit here is part of our Julie Richardson's conversation with the two co-owners, David Simpson and Matt Murley, and just a part of how they describe processing the immediate chaos and the impact it's had, not just on them, but their staff.
When I got there, I realized that it's something they couldn't control, and it was worse than I could ever imagine. I couldn't prepare myself the whole way. I was thinking, is this a bad dream? What's going on? My whole drive down there. I live right up the road here in New Albany, so it was about a 20-minute drive, and the whole way I didn't know what I'm driving into.
To have it there 1 minute and gone the next, it's hard to describe. Immediately memories of the place that's been there for 15 years, and community that's supported us for the last 15 years. And they continue to support us and really come around us today. But just shock, sadness, a little bit of everything. It's hard to describe in one word the feelings that go through your mind. But it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, tough. It was tough. When I pull in, I see my managers. I see some carloads of staff that was there. From their perspective, at the same time as ours, it's not only about us, it's about them as well. I mean, they lost a place to go work. They lost, some of them, that's their livelihood. Hopefully, the next chapter is going to be better. We get past this and get the community back, get our customers back, and move forward.
And so there you hear part of our Julie Richardson's, again, conversation, their interview with David Simpson and Matt Murley, the Cluckers co-owners there. I hope you join us tonight for Wave News at 11. That is where Julie's going to have her much more focused, detailed report, again, taking you back to the initial sort of fright of when the fire first started not too long ago, people's reactions, but also asking David and Matt what at least short term could be next as far as helping the workers who can't come physically to do their job, putting them in specific other Cluckers locations, other work they've been able to find in the meantime, what they could do to rebuild, where and how long that would take. Something Julie is going to walk us through tonight at 11. So I hope you join us then for that. As we discuss more news this evening, we also know a teen at our last check was taken to a hospital because he was shot in the St. Denis neighborhood. This happened just before 4 today, this afternoon on Dover Road and Bennock Avenue. Officers got there, but they didn't find anybody. But they believe it was a teen, around 17 years old. He was later found near Crumbs Lane, taken to the hospital in someone else's, personal car, and he was shot in the leg. No one's been arrested yet, and anybody with information is asked and urged to call LMPD, let them know what could be all involved in that. Now, moving on to this story and some more developments in the kidnapping case of a 13-year-old girl, Winter Wagner. Police say the man accused in this pleaded not guilty in court today. These are mugshots of Christian Delgado, arrested in Maryland the day after Christmas. It was after Winter was found safe. Delgado faces a kidnapping charge connected to the girl's disappearance from Rockcastle County in October. Delgado was transferred to the Rockcastle County Detention Center not long after midnight Friday, and in court today, the judge denied a request to lower his $1 million bond.
70 plus days to help bring a missing child home. This is a good day. It's a day to celebrate a success and a life and a family restored, and we are looking forward to what the days ahead bring.
As for Delgado, he could expect more charges coming from a different jurisdiction. We're talking not just Kentucky, but also charges pending from Maryland County Court and Florida County as well. His next court date, at least for Kentucky, is set for March 11th. Back in the metro, for bus riders, anyone who knows, they use TARP quite often. Well, the agency is considering changing how much it'll charge passengers to use its service. Now, this is the first proposed price fare adjustment since 2012. So it's been rough, 13 or 14 years since, and there are public meetings coming up since it is a process that TARC has to follow when it's considering increasing rates. The agency's board of directors is going to have the final vote on any proposed changes. But in case you were interested in letting the agency know what you think, TARC's first meeting on the matter is going to be January 20th. And so if I'm going to check a calendar app here very quickly, sometimes you just wish you could have these things. So 2 Tuesdays from tomorrow. So still some time, but that's what's going to happen. The first of TARC's public meetings at Shively City Hall at 5 o'clock. The first meeting for the paratransit service, if you're a user who rides that frequently for TARC. That one's happening a little earlier. That one is Friday, January 16th at 6 p.m. at the National Federation of the Blind building. So from transportation to housing, we are getting a better up-close look at what happened after a fire damaged part of the basement at a 15-story senior apartment building in Old Louisville. If you're familiar with when we broke that story of the fire at St. Catherine Court, it happened December 27th. And our reporters found that this incident was actually a red flag for Metro housing officials. The reason that the damage revealed how LMHA can no longer afford to wait until something breaks before they then have to fix it, at least in the reporting from our Wave News team, that there was a sense of luck or a bit of fortune after the fire, because finding the part they needed to get to repair the electrical system at St. Catherine Court turned out to be exactly what they predicted, that it was a needle in a haystack. Even if they found it, that there's a slim margin of error there. And when it comes to St. Catherine Court, at least with what they were able to find, LMHA leaders say they're not going to take those chances. They've ordered the manufacturing of another replacement part just in case. Wave News reporter David Mattingly files this story.
It doesn't look like much, but when fire damaged this mechanical part called a bus duct, it did more than just shut off the electricity and heat to St. Catherine Court. It forced 144 senior residents out of their homes and launched 2 Metro Housing Authority employees on a 2-day, 1,400-mile journey to find its one-of-a-kind replacement.
Is that the only part you found?
Yes.
That's it?
That's it.
After that one, there aren't any more?
There aren't anymore, but we're getting with the manufacturer. We can still have them made, but you're 6 months out on getting parts made.
That means St. Catherine Court residents came very close to being out of their homes until June. But instead of 6 months, they returned in 6 days. After supervisors Joseph Hamilton and Mike Peebles flew to Minneapolis to pick up the only known replacement part and drive back in the snow.
I asked for an all-wheel, four-wheel drive vehicle too, just in case, and I'm glad I did because it snowed around 6 of the 11 hours, or it was freezing rain on the way back home.
Now where are we going? Basement.
9 days after the fire, we get to see the basement where it happened. There's surprisingly very little left except some soot on the wall and singed equipment on the floor. It was a relatively small fire that could have had huge consequences for LMHA, which is now evaluating all of its similar buildings.
So that we can triage and make a plan for which electrical systems need to be fixed, which elevator systems need to be fixed, so that all of our buildings remain online for our residents.
And our thanks to David Mattingly for that update and report, which, by the way, you could read much more as far as the other details of, sort of the preparation and taking the lessons from this for LMHA to apply for later. David's going to have that written up on his report in the article we've got up on wave3.com. So I invite you to check that out for sure. All right, we're going to take another quick commercial break, go over some more of the top stories of the day. And in this next third, let's say, coming up on the live stream, we're going to go with our political leaders' reactions to what happened over the weekend in Venezuela and some other stories of note that will cover some touch different points in communities across the Commonwealth. So we're going to break that down a little bit for you coming up after this break. So hope you stay with us on Wave News Extra. We'll be right back. All right, everyone, here we are, 8:31 on this Monday, January 5th here in the Wave Now studio. We're going to break down for you is a bit of just the local or state leader context, at least the federal delegation, as far as they're concerned with what happened with the stunning images involving that U.S. Military mission and operation in Venezuela's capital and the capture of leader Nicolas Maduro. And perhaps given, the leaders themselves will not see eye to eye on many issues or end results. Some politicians on the record saying they do support President Trump's and the White House's actions, others condemning them. Republicans, Mitch McConnell and Andy Barr, whose images you just saw, they're supporting the president's action. McConnell writing on X, in part, quote, Maduro is a thug, and the hemisphere would be safer without this lackey of Iran, Russia, and China in power, end quote. As for Andy Barr, he writes in part, quote, Americans everywhere should celebrate that President Trump has restored international order and further deterred our enemies, end quote. Now, what you saw images there was of Republican Thomas Massie. He has criticized the president heavily over the past year, and he said that he condemns the actions taken. Today, reporters, in fact, I believe we were able to speak with Representative and Democrat Morgan McGarvey, saying that he and other members of Congress are upset that they were not notified of what was about to happen.
The president actually said the quiet part out loud. He said that he used the military to go over to Venezuela to make sure that we are getting oil for the big oil companies in America. And to me, we do not need to be in another forever endless war where we send our sons and our daughters over into combat for oil companies.
Now, in that same exchange, we'd asked Congressman Garvey about a report on the New York Times saying that Delta Force commandos rehearsed this mission at Fort Campbell in Kentucky. At the time, the congressman said that he couldn't confirm that, but because House members are heading back to Washington tomorrow, McGarvey was saying that he was going to have, quote, a lot of questions that he would have liked answers to. And so, of course, that'll be a story with so many chapters. We'll continue to follow the fallout and the analysis of it all through the evening and the days and weeks to come. And unrelated, sort of other subject of news, as we're still pretty much going to be dealing with winter cold and winter temperatures starting tomorrow, you can actually ask for assistance to help keep your home warm during the winter. It's through the LIHEAP Crisis Assistance, and it's spelled LIHEAP, the acronym, just so you know that matters, because it's a lot to have to say otherwise. But you can apply. As far as applications that would be available, it stays open through the 27th, and the program helps eligible households dealing with heating emergencies or they're at risk of evictions because of unpaid utility bills. But time is of the essence because applications are accepted on a first come, first served basis or until the funds run out. So if that's something you'd be interested in looking into, we do have more information on how you can find out to apply on wave3.com. Talking now about preparing for the busiest month and then the busiest week of the year in the Louisville Metro, the search is on for the 2026 Thunder Nader. This is the person who starts the fireworks show at Thunder over Louisville. The Kentucky Derby Festival and the State Lottery are releasing new information this week about how they're going to pick their winner. In addition to then starting Thunder's fireworks, winners in the past have then scored tickets to Churchill Downs, to the Great Steamboat Race, and to get a room at the Galt House for Thunder Weekend. A reminder, Thunder over Louisville is set for Saturday, April 18th. In some updates for Kentucky retailers, and some said they're still pretty concerned about a new law that enforces and governs tobacco, nicotine, and vape sales. They're arguing that these are not being properly enforced yet. So the law in question requires retailers to have an annual state license approved by Alcohol Beverage Controls Board if they're selling any of these products. Again, tobacco, nicotine, or vapes. But it's meant to ensure, supporters did, that business owners are not selling merchandise to minors or selling illegal product. The owner of Up and Smoke in Glasgow believes the law is necessary, but his comment is that he doesn't think this is being enforced properly because he's continuously seen other retailers sell products they should not be, and so wants the legislation to be taken a little more seriously.
When across the rest of the state, people are still selling the products that were supposed to have been taken off their shelves a year ago. So once again, my problem lies in the enforcement arm of things, not passing new laws just to further complicate things. I need to be able to, appropriately follow the laws that are already in place. And my lack of knowledge and understanding via the appropriate channels is just making it really hard.
And so in that same conversation with the reporters, he says he believes if enforcement is prioritized, then the law could truly make a difference in keeping illegal products away from minors and kids, which was part of the intent of the law that was approved. Now we're going to end with a check-in on a program in Hardin County. And this is where health department leaders are saying that there's a plan they're using to help curb deadly overdoses. They believe it is working. Members of the quick response team say the goal of these rapid responses, as you can imagine, these are people affected by substance abuse, but then once they're able to step in time, that then helps the victim or whoever they're helping in this case with recovery. Wave News anchor Rob Wells finds the number of deadly overdoses in Hardin County has decreased by 30% in 2025 from a year prior.
So 2022 was our highest number of drug overdose deaths in Hardin County, and that was at 55.
Hardin County Chief Deputy Coroner Shannon Norton decided to do something to curb the number of lives lost to overdoses. That's when the quick response team concept was launched.
Once that 911 call comes in and the EMS crew goes out, and maybe it is someone that's suffering from substance abuse problem or mental health, the EMS crews have been trained and they're able, we just have like a little QR code and they're able to scan that and actually do a referral to the Hardin County Quick Response.
The quick response team can be anything from counseling to detox programs, and it's working. Norton said that Hardin County had 28 fatal overdoses in 2025. The year prior, it was 42.
They're ready to go to treatment. We load them up in the vehicle. We take them to treatment. If they're not, we leave them with Narcan. We leave them with test strips. We leave them with education.
Add to that the vending-looking machines that dispense life-saving Narcan. They've also played a major role.
But Hardin County has tons of Narcan naloxone boxes. They're blue boxes. They look like the old style like newspaper box, and they're everywhere, and anyone can go get them.
That was our Rob Wells reporting, and the leadership there saying that the QRT launched after Hardin County got a grant to obtain their opioid abatement money. The county is going to go back to the state this year to request the same funds and hopefully get more continued support to do this kind of work for vulnerable people across their community, and saying that perhaps other counties could adopt a similar model. A reminder, folks, as we wrap up tonight, it's not just the story, for example, what you read about Rob, and this is where we extend beyond just Jefferson County. We extend, of course, across the river, southern Indiana, and extending to, we say involved in the metro, but still part of our community and the places we go report on, the stories we want to hear from you all. That is everything that is updated here on the main homepage of wave3.com. Local breaking news, headlines, updates, original investigations, pieces, and everything in between, including the regional and big breaking national, international stories. That all does get updated as soon as possible by our digital team, so you have that at your fingertips wherever you may be to log in. And that this applies to the website, the updates that come in when you download the free Wave News app, the free Wave Weather app, because the storm tracking team also staying on top of things whenever the information will change, as it will, but they're making sure that you stay on top of things as well. A reminder, we'll be here in the studio, Wave News at 11, storm tracking team breaking things down, enjoying quite a nice start to the work week. How are things going to change? Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harder going to walk us through that. Our reporting team letting you know about the stories and things that are happening right here in our backyard in our community. So hopefully you will join us for that. And we will be back here with another edition of the Wave News Extra live stream tomorrow at around 8:05-ish. Reminder to always connect with us on the usual channels on social media. That's Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. And make sure to join us also on the Wave Now app. Appreciate your time, folks. I'm Jose Sosaya on this Monday, January 5th. We will see you back here tomorrow night.